Thanks for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Matt Talhelm. Your news at 6 starts right now. Hundreds of children in Charlottesville and Albemarle County are better prepared to head off to class for that new school year. A mishap with a fire extinguisher on the building's top floor delayed everyone's workday there. Yeah, that's a tough way to start the season with UCLA and then Notre Dame here, and then to come within seconds, so close too.
Just one play at the end of the game, that's all it takes.
Okay, we'll have more highlights coming up in just a little bit. Thank you, Mike. Well, that first home game of the season brought thousands of UVA and Notre Dame fans to Charlottesville. Many of them celebrated the return of college football with tailgates that started around noon today. NBC 29's Rachel Menitoff continues our game day team coverage. That accident snarled traffic for several hours this afternoon on this busy Sunday holiday travel day. The chain reaction crash brought westbound Interstate 64 to a standstill just before noon. State police tell NBC 29 12 vehicles collided near mile marker 99. That's on Afton Mountain. The cause of the accident is still under investigation, but as you can see there, drivers had to deal with that dense fog. It was a mess up there. I know commuting from Waynesboro to Charlottesville was like that the whole way. Tonight, the Nelson County Sheriff's Office is investigating a fatal fall from a popular hiking spot. The Sheriff's Office tells NBC 29 a man fell to his death this afternoon while climbing Crabtree Falls in the southern part of the county. His name has not been released. This is the second death this year at Crabtree Falls. No fear, chocolate lovers here in America. Our Cadbury packaging will remain the same at 6 eggs. My favorite candy of the year. I have frozen Cadbury eggs before because they're only available for like a few weeks. But the swimming season ends in just about 45 minutes at 7 o'clock. After that, there will be no more lifeguards on duty.
Oh,
gotta go. Sorry, I've got 45 minutes here.
Yeah, get out.
Get out of here.
He's hooked to the desk. He can't leave.
I can't leave.
Oh, we're laboring on Labor Day.
Hard to believe it is this time of year already.
I know, it's crazy.
NBC News.
Let me write down that piece of trivia for tonight.
We didn't just memorize it?
No, I didn't. Jay Gray imparting knowledge there. First tonight at 6, investigators from the Fluvanna County Sheriff's Office are on the scene of a murder in the gated Lake Monticello community. Tonight, a husband is behind bars, accused of killing his wife inside their home at the lake. 33-year-old Franklin Lee Burris is charged with first-degree murder. NBC 29's Rachel Menitoff has been on the scene all day. She is back in our Charlottesville newsroom now with the new details. Rachel? First tonight, Augusta County Sheriff's investigators have a suspect in custody who they say robbed a convenience store of a jar of cash meant for a fundraiser. That 5.8 magnitude earthquake with its epicenter in Mineral caused millions of dollars in damage. Today, people living in Louisa County say the massive rebuilding effort following the quake has brought them closer together. Covering Virginia tonight, a federal judge has denied a transgender teenager's request to use the boys' bathroom at a high school in eastern Virginia. More than 100 people remembered Bond by releasing flowers into the Rivanna River at Dardentown Park this afternoon. And that is where we find NBC 29's Rob Manch for us live. Good evening, Rob. Oh boy, those are the faces of frustration after a computer glitch causes flight delays and cancellations from New York to the Carolinas. Passengers at Reagan National Airport in Washington waited in those long lines to learn if their flights would take off. The FAA blames the problem on a computer system at its facility in Leesburg, Virginia, that controllers use to direct high-altitude flights. The problem was fixed around 4 this afternoon, but some airlines already canceled flights to and from the region. That outage is still affecting people trying to fly out of Charlottesville-Albemarle Airport tonight. The departures board showed delays into the early evening hours. As you can see, the big delayed right there on the board. The passengers waited around to catch a later flight. Others were forced to turn around and come back for an early morning flight tomorrow. An airport spokesman tells us the delays are due to that computer issue affecting some navigational equipment such as the airport's radar. The glitch affected only outbound flights from CHO except to Washington Dulles Airport. This is a live look at the flight schedule at Charlottesville-Albemarle Airport right now. There are no departures this late at night, but on the arrivals side of things, we are still seeing one delay. A U.S. Airways flight from Charlotte is running about 3 hours late tonight. The United flight from Washington Dulles just landed a few minutes ago. It was on time. New tonight at 11, a Madison County family is out of their home after a fire forced them to evacuate. The blaze started just before 6 o'clock in the 1700 block of Lindsay Lane. That is in the Kriglersville section of the county. You can see the smoke pouring out of that house there tonight. Fortunately, the family members who were inside when the fire started, they got out safely. Firefighters had to tear apart pieces of that house to try to get in there and put out the flames. Crews are still working to determine exactly what started that fire. On the Decision 2016 campaign trail tonight, presidential frontrunners are working hard to win over voters in the Iowa State Fair. Fans surrounded Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton as she made her way through the fairgrounds in Des Moines. Questions about emails on her private server for official business during her time as Secretary of State continue to follow Clinton. She recently turned that server over to the FBI to investigate. Today, Clinton blamed her Republican challengers for turning the situation into a partisan issue. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump arrived at the Iowa State Fair by helicopter today. The candidate, who is leading the Republican field in some polls, greeted supporters, shaking hands and signing autographs as he's made his way through the fair. Answering questions from the media, Trump criticized the fundraising practices of both his GOP opponent Jeb Bush and Democrat Hillary Clinton. He expressed sharp opposition to President Obama's Iran deal. At a memorial service for the 5 servicemen killed in Chattanooga, Tennessee last month, Vice President Joe Biden today called the killings an act of a perverted jihadist. Hundreds gathered at the service for 4 Marines and a sailor who were killed when a gunman opened fire on 2 military facilities July 16th. Despite Biden's hard words about that shooter, there has never been a motive determined behind the attacks. The vice president also praised the bravery of all those who lost their lives. Service Dogs of Virginia is teaching the Albemarle County community about the transformative effect of service dogs in the lives of people with disabilities. The organization held a training and information session today. NBC 29's Rob Manch was there. He has a story now in our Charlottesville newsroom. Good evening, Rob.
Good evening, Matt.
Rob Manch live in our Charlottesville newsroom tonight. Thank you, Rob. The memory of a Greene County boy is living on through a 2-day outdoor music festival organized by his family and friends. 16 local bands volunteered to perform at Tristan Fest in tribute to Tristan Roach. The 11-year-old died May 2010 as a result of a trampoline accident at his home. His parents say they can't think of a better way to honor their son than with something he loved dearly, music. 100% of the proceeds go to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Hundreds of children in Charlottesville and Albemarle County are better prepared to head off to class for that new school year thanks to a back-to-school bash today. The African American Pastors Council and volunteers handed out free school supplies at the Intellis Wireless Pavilion this afternoon. More than 1,500 students picked up prepackaged kits and backpacks. The new school year starts Wednesday, if you can believe it or not. That's for students in Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville. We're just getting started at 11. Coming up, you'll meet a man who floats above Charlottesville for a living. The pilot has been taking people to new heights for more than 3 decades. Find out how you can help him celebrate.
Hannah Graham was a person. She was a human being. She had a life, and we want people to realize that.
Tonight, the Charlottesville community remembers Hannah Graham on the 1-year anniversary of the University of Virginia student's abduction. Plus, it's a wrap for the Lock-In Festival in Nelson County. We will show you how the concert recovered from a damaging storm that delayed the start of the music. Thanks for joining us on the CW. I'm Matt Talhelm. Your news at 10 starts right now.
Live from the area's most experienced news team, this is NBC 29 News at 10.
First at 10, family and friends of a young woman who vanished from the town of Orange 5 years ago tonight are celebrating her life. 19-year-old Samantha Clark left her home in Orange for the final time on September 13, 2010. To mark the anniversary of her disappearance, the community came together to remember the good times with Samantha. NBC 29's Rachel Menitoff has that story all new at 10. Rachel?
no luck.
Okay, Rachel Menitoff live in our Charlottesville newsroom tonight. Thank you, Rachel. The Charlottesville community is remembering University of Virginia student Hannah Graham, who was abducted 1 year ago tonight. The free speech wall in the downtown mall is covered with chalked tributes to Graham from members of the nonprofit Help Save the Next Girl. The 18-year-old was last seen walking on the mall, caught by security cameras just blocks from the free speech wall. Her body was discovered several weeks later behind a vacant home in Albemarle County. Help Save the Next Girl was formed in honor of Morgan Harrington, a Virginia Tech student who was abducted from Charlottesville and murdered 6 years ago. Harrington's mother leads the group and was there today to remember Hannah Graham. Graham's accused killer, Jesse Matthew, is behind bars at the Albemarle Charlottesville Regional Jail. The 33-year-old was arrested on a beach in Galveston, Texas on September 24th last year. He is charged with capital murder. The next hearing in Matthew's case is September 30th. A jury trial is scheduled for July of 2016 in Albemarle County Circuit Court. On the Decision 2016 campaign trail, Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will return to Charlottesville Monday. This is video from when the Vermont senator made a campaign stop in the city back in May. Tomorrow, Sanders is scheduled to visit the University of Virginia's Miller Center, where he will tape an interview with American Forum, which airs on PBS. The event is open to the public, with doors opening at 3:15 Monday afternoon. The second Republican debate is coming up this week, and for some of those candidates, this may be their do-or-die moment in the spotlight. Donald Trump, still the front runner in the early primary states, but there are clear signs that Republican voters are still shopping around. NBC's Brian Moore reports.
Brian Moore, NBC News, Washington.
Covering Virginia tonight, state police and the Federal Aviation Administration are investigating a plane crash in Bedford County that injured the pilot and passenger. The single-engine plane crashed and caught on fire in the middle of that neighborhood street in Manita around 4:30 this afternoon. A witness described hearing the plane's engine backfire as it went down. Police say a passenger was taken to Roanoke Memorial Hospital. The pilot was taken to Wake Forest for burn treatment. There's no word on the extent of their injuries tonight. A Harrisonburg man is dead after being run over by a car on Route 29 in Madison County. The accident happened around 1:15 this morning in the northbound lanes of Route 29 near Fairground Road. Virginia State Police say 54-year-old Lawrence Brody was standing in the road when he was struck by a 2012 Ford Fiesta driven by a 21-year-old woman from Madison. The crash closed northbound 29 during the investigation. The driver has not been charged at this time. This weekend, an Albemarle County elementary school is remembering one of its teachers who was killed last year. Robin Aldridge taught preschool at Hollymead Elementary. She and her daughter were found murdered inside their Charlottesville home last December. Now the school is dedicating this new playground in Aldridge's memory. It includes a plaque at the entrance featuring artwork that represents memories of her former students and colleagues.
Losing Rob.
The school also plans to add musical equipment to the playground. A concert at the Paramount Theater in Charlottesville Wednesday night will help raise money for that project. After a rocky start, the Locken Festival in Nelson County got some beautiful weather for the final night of music. Crews were still out there cleaning up from that sudden storm Wednesday night that destroyed a lot of the festival's infrastructure and caused the first night of performances to be canceled. People at the festival say they made the best of the situation, and the bands still put on a good show.
Every year it's gotten better and better about it.
The Nelson County Sheriff's Office says at least 10 people were arrested for a variety of charges ranging from drug possession to theft and assault. The Sheriff's Office says 2 people were flown to the UVA Medical Center for drug overdoses. This week, Albemarle County Police want the community's input before they decide whether to outfit officers with body cameras. The department is considering mandatory use of the cameras. The department wants to create a policy that lays out their purpose and use. If you'd like to weigh in the Albemarle County Crime Prevention Council, they're hosting a town hall Tuesday at 7 p.m. That meeting will take place at the police department on 5th Street. A new training program is exposing service dogs to Albemarle County firefighters, EMTs, and their equipment. A fully suited firefighter can be pretty intimidating at first glance. Service dogs in training and their volunteer trainers came together today to try to remove some of that fear. Service Dogs of Virginia says the more times these dogs spend around first responders, the more comfortable they become. In the event of an emergency, the training teaches those dogs how to react so they don't compromise the safety of their owner. There is a warning tonight for people scalping tickets to see the Pope, and it's coming directly from the church. Plus, California firefighters race to evacuate entire towns as winds fan a fast-moving wildfire. We get a look at the damage in just minutes.